Hello, Marissa. Welcome to Tanks Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professionalism for today's items only. The investment gun talk today will be Ethereum TKTH. Just my first posting as of today. Respect to recording time of on Tuesday, October 26th at 9:54 a.m. on the Eastern Time. Ethereum contracting $4,195, down about 0.62% so far. On the overall crypto market, it's relatively flat, right? Besides Shiba Inu and Algorand, which are a little bit more active, are currently up about 3.07%, while Shiba Inu is still sustaining some bullishness, up about 11.72% so far. While on the equity side, it's still sustaining the enormous sector rotation, predominantly being driven by the technology stocks and the high growth and high cap stocks as well, which as of this morning, Tesla is retesting all-time high, right? Testing the $1,071, $73 as we speak right now. Continue to test all-time high. And I think Tesla could technically reach to the $1,400 mark. I wouldn't be surprised. So we still have some leg and room to go. Rotation is still going on, and it's still October. Technically, the sector rotation is going to happen until basically Christmas time. So congratulations to all the ones that actually invested early. So really happy. It's definitely a day that it's good to see that your account is growing like that. So with respect to the crypto side, which is not that active because equity seems like they are the showstopper, if you may, right? So on the Ethereum side, let's take a look at the news real quick, right? So with respect to the first one on Bazinga, talk about Bitcoin gets its mojo back. DeFi coins pale against Ethereum. Dogecoin slips into red as rival Shiba Inu spikes. So this is basically talk about some of the historical trends that we've been observing collectively in the last couple of days so far, ever since the weekend. So we'll dive into the technical a little bit more to see what do they mean by Bitcoin getting its mojo back. It seems like we've just been kind of consolidating above the $60K level. So we'll dive into it in a bit. The next one on Cointelegraph about 15 hours ago talk about Layer 2 protocol EdgeSwap launches testnets to bring scalable low-cost transaction to Ethereum user. So it seems like this is something that we would appreciate a lot ever since the London fork debut, the 2.0. One of the key issues that we were trying to solve was with respect to the high gas fee. Apologies, my phone. And some of the carbon emissions and the environmental advocacy concerns that people have with respect to the mining and the cultivations of Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? It seems like with respect to this technology, this layer 2 protocol EdgeSwap, as they testing this, and this is a test launch, I believe, with their aspiration to lower the cost on the transactional side. I hope that we can also see the environmental efficacy side as well, which will be further improve upon what has already been highly successful for Ethereum, and with that will translate into more of a long-term, sustainable value proposition for Ethereum, which technically should translate into more price stability, and obviously escalations going forward. So the next one's on more NFT news. So CBS News about 7 hours ago talked about Donald Trump. He has his own NFT, and I don't think he specifically was the one that made the NFT, but it's an NFT that features the former president Donald Trump, and the NFT art is selling for 240 Ethereum. So that's interesting, I guess. Not sure. I guess someone that's really a big fan of Donald Trump would want to buy something like this. For me, I don't get the arts, nor am I, a supporter for this initiatives either. So, quite interesting. The next one is on CNBC about 8 hours ago. Talk about pushback on Facebook's digital wallet to iris scanning for free coins. Quite interesting. Seems like obviously Facebook has been trying to cultivate something along the line with respect to crypto with the Libra projects, right? It seems like that's kind of faded away. We haven't really heard much news since then, but it seems like there are more cultivation around the digitization of crypto wallets. So that's something we appreciate. Facebook is one of the tech giants. So with their stamp of approval, it's something that we definitely would appreciate, as a long-term sustainability of the price of going forward. And then the next one is on Decrypt about 8 hours ago. Talk about super rare post, best month as single edition Ethereum NFT price source. So super rare is a NFT artwork marketplace. It seems like they are seeing enormous surge among their market volatility with respect to the exchanges for artwork, for JPEG image, for that's cultivated by NFT. So they're seeing a lot of activity that's being cultivated right now amongst the artwork community in the marketplace. So, and the way they basically describe it is high volume. The auction or the transaction cost, it's relatively high, which translates into high commission fees for them as well. So it's something they appreciate. They're just mentioning. It's more just a more reinforcing or regurgitation news, around the commercializations of what has been already highly hyped on NFT, right? So let's go straight back into the technical. There isn't a lot of substantive news that's happening today that which translates, technically to the lack of, movements that we're seeing on the key coins, right? So with respect to Ethereum right now, we're still trading away at the 4,170. Basically, we're basically contemplating, do we break all-time high or do we break below, right? I think right now we're just staying there. The whales are not incentivized to sell. Nor public investors are incentivized to, sell or buy either. So no one's really doing anything. When no one's doing anything, we're just kind of chilling on a sideways fashion, which makes total sense, right? And right now on the scale is still 66 out of 70. We are forming a curvature slowly. And I think this might be, and I hope this is the case. And, as we are going to consolidate even further, this could technically be an upward wedge, right? And we know that when we form an upward wedge, you could see almost like a triangle, right? The tippy point is leaning upward, right? That's always an imbalance in the supply and demand ecosystem, right? We are giving more market favorability to the whales, so which would technically translates into a sell-off that is imminent, right? So definitely a very bearish chart right now. And as we formulating this chart, I know if you look closely, it definitely look like a flag, right? Like a flag that's facing upward, right? So definitely not a good sign. If we're gonna get further up, we're gonna see this getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. Eventually breaks and then go back down to the 3,843. 3,475, 3,150, which is very logical. So bearish chart definitely, and still overbought. So I think the likelihood is actually relatively high. I give this maybe a 75% likelihood that will actually sell down from here, based on the technicals. On the Bitcoin run, I would say the chart is not as prominent in terms of a flag, right? But we definitely we're trading on a different momentum. We have formed a death cross. Right, we're still leaning down, we're still overbought, so selling back down, and at the same time, we're basically hovering in the air right now. There isn't anything substantive around here. It's either we go back to all-time high or we don't, right? And I think we squeeze it already. We squeezed the lemon quite significantly at that point when we were extremely overstretched up, and the lemon top was right here, basically formed on October 20th, and then selling back down now. So I think ideally coming back down to earth, at the bare minimum. Selling to the 52, selling to the 47, and then ideally 43 would be a very logical move. Dogecoin, right now we are still overbought at 60 out of 70. Right now we are curving down, so ideally in a more risk-averse approach would be at the 22 to 20 cents. It's a good frame of reference. Cardano, we're still hovering on a sideways fashion. I think this is a downward wedge, so this is a bullish setup coming. But ideally, if you want to buy at a better price, would be like 210 or 205 from here. Solana is selling off. It seems like we broke to the all-time high yesterday, the 218 or 219, but we couldn't get there. Right now, I think we formed an apex. We're selling back down, cooling down 71 out of 70. So ideally buying back at the 155 at the bare minimum, but I think ideally at the more logical level will be somewhere around like the 133, 113, 93, and 66 respectively. XRP trade on sideways fashion. It looks like a downward wedge, so we could technically see a surge coming, right? Which makes sense, right? Again, the downward wedge is like a flag, right? You could see that we are forming a little flag if you look at it, right? Or like a pancreas or like a kidney if you study human anatomy. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's like kind of like a flag shape. And we are slowly forming a curvature right now. So I think, yeah, XRP could be bullish. So incurring risks, I think, wouldn't be a bad idea. Polkadot right now is forming an upward wedge, so I do see a sell-off coming. Again, right, because of the wellback and with confirmation from the RSI, we are still overbought 63 out of 70. So not a good favorable chart in terms like, it's favorable for the whales, but not favorable for public investors. Algorand's really dragged up. Not a good setup. We basically tried to test $2, which we got to, but we just couldn't get there immediately. People sold down. So I think we hit the apex and we still overbought. So ideally, wait for it to cool down. And I think this looks like a really, really stretch upward wedge. So not a good sign. Shiba Inu right now is just being pumped by whales and by astronauts as well. So right now it's at 80 out of 70. So like the scale is extremely high. This is extremely overbloated. So obviously, invest at your own risk, right? This is something that is out of our prediction because we are in extraterrestrial space right now. Because this is all-time high that we broke. So quite interesting, but definitely not in a risk management perspective that is tolerable for our risk aversion, if you may, right? So with respect to the risk management level, as we deplete the RSI back to 35, as we cool down the technical front on the MACD as well, these are the identified levels that we should technically wait until to come back to incur more risk on, right? I know it's kind of far away. It's because we are so stretched up far away, right? And when you see that, it's the opposite side of being risk averse, right? This is high risk territory. And we should be investing logically, investing when it's at a discount, not at a premium, right? So hopefully this is helpful. It's my first posting today, and really appreciate you for dropping by. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout, and stay tuned for some up. Take care. Bye.